On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
We not even gonna start the conversation with you telling me what ain't gonna happen. That's a red flag right there, fam. Real talk. What ain't gonna happen? What you say to me?
So it's been a lot of talks around monogamy, and DeVale and KD, they got their podcast, which is called Dead Ass Podcast, and there was a clip that's making a huge circulation right now. So I'm gonna play a little snippet for you guys right now.
I am not allowed, based on our marriage laws and the contract we've signed with each other,
Right.
to have sex with anybody else.
Right.
So these urges that come, I have to share them with the one person I decide to spend the rest of my life with.
Right.
So that brings me back to my soundbite.
Okay.
Right. I don't understand, and this is what we can discuss. As a woman, because I don't want to say it's a man versus woman thing, but a lot of women do complain, oh, my husband's always on me. Why is he always on me? If sex is going to be a chore for you that you don't really want to do, why do women constantly push monogamy on men? If you know that you don't want to have to deal with him all the time just wanting you, why do you push monogamy on men?
Well, who's to say I pushed anything on anybody? Like,
Well, we
if
know
two
that you
people-
pushed monogamy on me.
I pushed monogamy. I forced you to get married to me?
Time out. I didn't say you forced me to get married, but did you not say to me that you wanted to be engaged and you wanted to be married before you lived with me? You didn't say that?
I want $1 billion. That don't mean I'm going to get it.
Let's even talk about dating, right?
Okay.
Two people are dating. Typically in society, who asks for exclusivity first, a woman or a man?
I would say a woman.
Thank you. That was my whole point. See, you were going all over the place. If women typically ask for exclusivity first, then when they get exclusivity, say, he always on me, he always want to have sex. Why are we asking men for exclusivity if we do not want to participate in sex at the same level as men? We have to think about what that does to a man.
I hear that.
And I don't think that conversation is being had.
Okay, I agree. And that part I agree with, yes.
Don't see nobody smiling. B Nix, after watching that clip, what were your thoughts? I mean, should it be a chore if a man asks for sex with his wife or somebody he's in a relationship with?
I'm sorry, I'm still mentally on the previous topic, man. But man, I don't know. I want to say like it should be mutually agreed upon. I don't want no token booty. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. Like, I want that person to want it equally. But the thing is, I understand where he's coming from. It's like if I'm in a committed relationship, and it's not even the fact I know we do not to be cliche, we say, a man got needs. Women do too. So the thing is, in that regard, I think it goes both ways. But it's one of those that like, hey, I'm cool with being committed in that relationship. But the thing is, like, I don't know, like with that clip, I don't know the expectations that they set forth. You know what I'm saying? I think that it shouldn't be this complicated. But the thing is, don't be with someone if you're not ready to be monogamous. And I think that's the part where you can't have your cake and eat it too. If this is what you want, these are the things I would appreciate. I think going back to Anton, like, hey, you got to set all this up front about these are my expectations for you. And these are the expectations for me. Like if, hey, I want to fuck, I want to go on trips, I want to make money, and I want to build my own empire. Are you coming with me or not? Cool. But if you don't know what you really want, and that's the thing, I think people get into relationships and they don't know what they want, and they say, we project the things that we think we want. We want to be in a committed relationship. We want someone to be monogamous. But then guess what? When we get the person, then we get bored with the person, and then we step out on the person. And step out on the person, that is the opposite of what we already got at home. It's almost, to me, I hate to say that goes back to the body count conversation, right? And I don't know if all men agree. And I know Anton probably going to disagree with me as usual. Men always say like, hey, I want someone with a low body count, right? And the thing is, you get somebody and you marry that woman with that low body count, right? That, cliche church-going woman that, cooks, cleans, do whatever I need to do. And then you get bored, right? Because you're committed to the same booty the whole time, right? Nothing new. So then you're like, man, hey, we need to go to the club, JR. Hey, no, this weekend, I got to get out the crib. And guess what? I find someone, possibly with a higher body count, I'll just leave it at that, higher than what I already have, that could do all the things I would like for them to do, all the fantasies and things like that. So the thing is, it goes back to like, human beings are greedy. We're very greedy. We're greedy about sex. We're greedy about food. We're greedy about money. We're greedy about cars, how many cribs we got. We apply that same logic that we want to be greedy. A lot of this come down to greed, but you got to know at what stage you are in your life. And if you want to be monogamous, you need to be ready to commit to that for the duration of that relationship. If you're not ready to be monogamous, I would hope someone will be upfront like, hey, this is just, I'm not making no commitments to anyone. And we've seen it. That's why we've been getting more of these conversations, more, I guess, more open. People have been more open about having multiple relationships or dating multiple people at the same time. Hell, I think somebody posted in the group about like this woman got a husband and a boyfriend. That's different. Is that for me? No. But to each his own. For one, it's like one woman, two dudes. What's two dudes though? Anyway, I know we're not here to talk about that, but it's like one of those like, hey, I appreciate just folks being honest, but when I was listening to him talk, he sounded like a man that's trapped, that I'm doing this because my girl, this is what she wanted, so I'm gonna conform to what she wants. But it sounded like there's a matter of time that he's gonna step out. I don't think that he was necessarily wanting to be in a monogamous relationship. He doesn't sound committed. So that means it's just a matter of time before you step out. You can't untame the hunter, right? If you still ready to hunt, you got to let that person go hunt.
Tawana, let's talk about the male's mindset, right? If he has a partner, he wants her to be the recipient when he's feeling horny.
Okay.
Straight to the point, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
So, in a relationship, if he approaches his woman, his wife, whatever the title may be at that time, why should she not give in to him? You know, why does he have to beg or work in order to get that booty?
Well, it's a few things.
Yeah, please enlighten us. I'm curious.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship, it's a trade-off. Okay, every time your man not in the mood, and every time the woman is not in the mood, and people in monogamous relationships,
the men can't be out of the mood ever.
Yes, men can be.
It's an issue.
No, it's not an issue. You guys are not, and I mean, we can, survey women in your life to get a real response, but I'm telling you that men have issues as well. It's not always as fluid. And so don't act like it's not a trade-off. Everyone has their time when they don't want to have sex, whatever the case may be.
I agree with JR with that. It is a different expectation.
It's a different expectation.
We may not want to have sex, but if we don't have sex, then there's going to be a conversation the next morning. Within a couple of days, a conversation comes.
Y'all want to have y'all male-centered approach, that's cool. I'm going to talk about it from the female perspective. There's a trade-off. And I believe that it is in every monogamous situation where women and men have issues with intimacy. And after you've been with somebody for 5 years, for 7 years, intimacy changes. And they've been together for a very long time. And she said that her childbearing, if you watch the entire show, her childbearing and like having children affected her sex drive, and it made her different. And she really didn't anticipate that when she initially got married.
How long have they been together?
She has 3 kids. I don't know. I don't have 3 kids. I'm just saying that this is what happened to her in her situation. She said that affected her sex drive. So when sometimes things happen in relationships and marriages that are totally different, and you have to really be real with yourself. Be true to yourself. And you have to be like, okay, is monogamy really a relationship that's my truth? Like that fulfills me? Or if I really just want to be polyamory, like, do I really want that? And I think that, or do I want some other type of situation? And I think that every relationship is different. However, some people really just get fulfilled from being in a monogamous situation. And therefore, you have to be on the same, like, you have to communicate with your partner and you have to make sure y'all on the same page. Like, my man gonna be pleased no matter what. I feel like that's how a woman should think when she got a man. And that's my opinion. Like, hey, this is my man and I'm gonna make sure I'm always doing what he's doing. However, I don't believe just because you have sex with a man whenever he wants that he's still gonna cheat on you. So let me make that very clear. That I'm not telling women, yeah, have sex with your man, don't deny him, and when you don't feel like it, do it anyway because he won't cheat. No. There has been proven theories or studies that show that even women who don't reject their man, who don't deny their man sex, their men still cheat on them and still have other relationships outside of their marriage and their relationship. So it's not about that. And it's about more of the intimacy, men wanting the connections with other women. It's less about how often your wife is doing that. And he's being very honest with her, which I appreciate, and telling her like that he's frustrated about, okay, whatever her sex drive and whatever happening in their marital relationship, when that communication is essential, hopefully she really listened to him and addressed those things. Because, I mean, obviously that's the first step. I think that men need to just communicate with you and tell you what's going on, what's missing, so that you can kind of talk about it. I don't think that men, I think that, you know, in a monogamous relationship, you have to be very intentional about making sure that you're sexually satisfying each other. I think sex is super important in a relationship. And I don't want my man out here feeling like I ain't giving him what he needs and he ain't giving, like, I need him to know, like, that's what it is. So I think that, you know, that was good that they had that conversation. You know, it happens. You got to have that conversation. Even when you've been in a relationship for many years, sometimes it's time to come back and be like, you know, we need to get this back on track. So yep.
Then I want to ask you this. Do you feel as though the reasons that she gave, do you think that it was justified as far as why she wasn't having sex, or do you feel as though she should have still had sex?
Yeah, I think it was justified. I mean, I think she understood. Yeah.
What was her
what you mean?
Again, they was kind of
she
like,
basically said that her sex drive decreased, you know, because after she had children, her sex drive was just like different, and she really didn't know how to deal with those. And when you have children, men don't have children. It's a lot of hormonal changes that happen to your body, and so it's things that change within your. So I understand what she's saying. I'm not saying that should be like she should just stop there. She should continue to figure out how to correct that, how to get her hormones balanced so she can get back right. But I'm just saying that, yeah, that's something where her husband should be like, okay, I see what you're saying. Like, your hormones change, your sex drive decreased. Okay, let's see what we can do to work on it. Now, if she's not giving the effort and she's not trying to work on it, now I understand why her husband gonna be like.
Well, that's the thing, because he was talking from he was trying to figure out, but it was still coming from like a slightly frustrating space. I just
it was
like, you know, that's her, you know, her guy. So the thing is one of those, like, if that is the case, I would have appreciated if she would have been more forthcoming. Like, it felt like he had to pull that information out of her, you know. So the thing
he's the host.
Is that difficult
you said
to have that conversation?
He's the host?
Oh, okay.
He's
the host.
He's a hoe.
No, I say he's the host.
I got you.
I don't even disrespect anybody like that. He's the host. So he was kind of starting the conversation. And you have to listen to the entire show, B-Nix, because they really got more in detail about it, and she really started talking about the reasons that happened. And I think that he was more frustrated. I feel like maybe that night or that day she had rejected him, because he was like full throttle ready.
I'm not really sure that he was buying exactly what she responded and how she responded. I don't think he was buying it.
Well, it's time for him to re-examine the relationship he's in, right?
Okay.
Like, if you feel like your wife not meeting your needs and you have communicated that to her and she's unwilling, because if my man come to me and tell me that, and that ain't my husband, but I'm gonna figure it out. So I feel like she needs to figure it out. Like, I would have figured it out that night. Like, let me see what I gotta do. I don't know, because I'm in a relationship. I committed to this person, and I would never want that person to feel like I'm not fulfilling some need that they need. And if I can't do it, then you understand what's gonna happen as a result. That's just my opinion,
Okay.
like just being in a relationship. So
All right, I'm gonna go to Anton, but before I go to Anton, I'm gonna put this up real quick. The husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs.
really,
The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife. Do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time so you can give yourselves more completely to prayer. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control.
Satan.
Anton, when you saw that clip,
Oh man, we doing scripture
what were your
again?
thoughts?
Oh man, bro, you know how I feel about that. We doing scripture.
I just want to put a little message out there for people that's tuning in.
Hey, I'm
But,
gonna up like that on like Sundays or something. Man. That's like scripture. But that's the King James version.
Anton,
Anton, I forgot you got the floor.
yeah, go ahead. When you first saw that clip, what were your thoughts?
I had the same question that I haven't seen anybody answer, which is
If you don't put that
why do
scripture
women
down,
women push monogamy on men when they are not prepared to fulfill his needs? And it's a valid question.
Not true.
It's a valid question that when I looked at all of the comments and I looked at the narrative and all of the discussions, all of the women, they went all the way around it. They went around the original question that he asked and that he posed, and then they went into, well, ain't nobody forcing you, and all. The narrative always get changed around and switched up, and then they want to discuss, well, he shouldn't have said it like that. Well, the original question still needs to be answered, and he asked it to women, which is, why do women advocate for and push monogamy on men when they are not fully prepared to give themselves and satisfy his needs as he needs to be satisfied according to, whatever that is. And I don't see any woman having that discussion. I don't see any woman even interested in participating in that part of the conversation, and they're going to go all around it. So he asked a valid question, and I see women getting mad if a guy steps out. I see women getting mad if he shows interest in somebody else. I see women getting mad if he shows a lack of interest in her, as though it's like something that he wants to do, like he wants to show a lack of interest. And I'm not speaking, see, look at the comments. And I'm not speaking specifically to him per se, but in general, women go all around the subject. And so when a man have a serious conversation and say, yo, my sex drive is here, this is what I need, the narrative always become, oh, well, he should be more understanding, and her body is going through changes, and it's always her. It's always around her. But he's the one that's in the predicament. He's the one that's got the scenario. He's the one that brought up the issue in a really good way as far as how he's communicating effectively. So how come nobody is able to answer this question that why are women requiring monogamy but are unable to give themselves fully in a way that he feels as though would satisfy his needs? That's the main thing I took away from the
women are
whole
not required. Men require monogamy just as much as women. And most men are not okay with their woman having sex with other men. So if you're going to ask for open relationships, then you're going to have to accept that your woman may want to have an open relationship as well. So are you open to opening your relationship up on both ends? And if you are, then cool. Talk about it with your wife. Talk about it with your wife.
Change the narrative.
No, talk about it with your wife.
I know you
We're not open on both ends.
In that clip, and I know you watched it, the narrative was he asked her a very specific question. He said, hey, weren't you the one that advocated for and said, I want monogamy, and this is what I want my relationship to be, and so on and so forth. And he gave all of these different narratives, and she said, yes, Yes.
Yeah, monogamy
And then
means
he
you have
said,
sex with
okay.
me for life.
now,
That
as it
doesn't
relates
mean
to- and then he said, as it relates to this issue that I'm having, how come you don't want to address it? And she went all around the question and said, I never thought about it like that. I wonder why women aren't having these conversations before marriage and all this stuff. But she never answered the question.
women are having those
Look
conversations.
at you.
He
You're
ain't
still
having
not,
those
you're still
conversations.
not answering the question.
I
Why
did
is
just
it
answer the question. I told you specifically. And one, let me tell you this. We don't know how frequently they have sex. And what if they have sex? What if he want to have sex multiple times a day, 7 days a week? And maybe that's unrealistic to any relationship. We don't even know what the frequency is. All we're doing is basing it on whatever the comment was. She could have just had sex with him 2 days ago, and maybe he just wanted sex that day, and he frustrated. Like, you just don't even know. So I'm not quick to comment on people's.
I don't know. He's the one that asked.
I don't
the
do
question.
that. I don't do that. But I'm gonna say
You don't want to do. You don't wait. So you
I don't do that.
deep dive
Period.
that.
I don't
You
do that.
wanna deep
Period.
dive that, but
When you try to
do
put
wanna
me in a
deep
box,
dive-
I'm not in no box.
No, 'cause
Okay,
seen you
I
in the
comment
comments.
based on how I
seen
feel
you
and what
in the
I know.
comments in the group, and you was willing to deep dive the fact that ain't nobody forcing you to do nothing and all this other stuff, but you don't want to deep dive that though.
Yeah, because first of all, somebody tagged me to that particular post based on my last conversation on the podcast and was like, oh, Tawana, blah, 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 and tried to kind of,
Nobody
address
forced you
some
to
things that
engage.
I said in the previous podcast. And what I said to them was that you don't get forced into a relationship. That's not what JR's question is. I don't believe in forcing somebody. I don't believe in this pressure thing. I told y'all that, all three of y'all, that is ridiculous. That whole idea of you pressured me into this and that. No, you a man who made a decision and you take accountability for that. And that's my stance. That's my stance, and I stick with it. However, what I will say about that whole situation and relationships is that monogamy don't mean that I'm just gonna have sex with you whenever you want. Monogamy means that I am your sex partner for life, and that I feel that you should not go outside of our relationship, and we have agreed to this thing. So communication is the way to
Not good
address
enough.
issues.
Not good enough.
Well, you agreed to marry me.
Not good
then
enough.
that's what you agreed to. If
That's
you don't
not
want to
good
agree
enough.
to that, then
You're
marry
not gonna
someone
spin it
who's
around on
open.
me and talk this. Well, I'm your sex partner and the only sex partner you're gonna have for life. No, you're gonna fulfill some needs. You're gonna meet some expectations.
I agree with
and we're gonna get down.
I didn't say that you shouldn't. I'm just telling you what it is.
The only thing is, I think it's a variable in this that, is it the same as it was when y'all first got together? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it ain't gonna be the same.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, like, everybody's body is
should be.
not exactly the same.
It's more
If
for
these are
me.
needs and demands, then what are the alternatives? What can we do?
Whatever.
So the thing is,
it's more for me.
See, I almost feel like that's the thing where
I'm the bust down
like
king.
the clip we watched. You can't just shut it down. If this is a thing and this is your partner and this is a real thing, it's like with anything else, we got to work it out to figure out what's the alternative. What can we do? And the thing
But
is,
you know what, B
Sex
Nix?
is
You
no
know what the
longer
problem
a
with that
priority.
statement is? You know what the problem with that statement is, B Nix? Is that I agree with you, but you can't work out something if somebody is unwilling to address the question.
Yeah,
that's
actually, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going with that next point. You can't shut it down. The thing is, like girl did, she just put the wall up. Like, nope, these are the things. These are all the things on why it can't happen. So now it's like you're not working with me now. So Anton, you're absolutely right.
You talking about in the podcast?
Huh?
You talking about in the podcast that she put walls up in the clip?
In the clip, and actually what you're talking about too. Well, you can't just shut it
They
down.
are just trying to get you emotionally charged. You got to listen to the entire thing. I'm telling you, context is important. She was not putting a wall.
That was just a sound bite just to get this conversation.
He trying to get y'all emotionally charged. That ain't what that woman's intention was.
No, he asked a valid question. Why isn't he trying to get anybody emotionally charged?
Because the thing is, it's not.
He's trying to get you men emotionally charged.
Think about it. What you just
y'all
said,
be falling for
earlier. You said every day, but that's not going to happen. So then now it's like, guess what? The wall went up, right? So that's the thing where it becomes one of those like.
You ain't now. Hold on, B Nix. I got a better one for you. You
did say that.
You ain't never gonna sit here.
You did say that though.
Hold on, B Nix. You ain't never gonna tell me.
Y'all so centered on the decisions y'all make.
We're not even gonna start the conversation with you telling me what ain't gonna happen. That's a red flag right there, fam. Real talk. What ain't gonna happen? What'd you say to me? dog. I
Y'all
wish
so
you would.
centered on the decisions y'all make, y'all can't see
Oh, it's our decision
What
for
decision?
you. Wait, B-Nix. We just talked
to
about
agree to
like,
monogamy with
we just
somebody
talked
who
about
don't have
going
the same
away
sex drive as you.
and advocating for women as far as ensuring that should not ever happen. Now
But you
we
think
have
about
a
it, that's
conversation on the other side of the spectrum and saying, okay, I want to communicate with you and ask you a valid question as to why you refuse to acknowledge and meet this need and continue to go all around it and make excuses, and you ain't got nothing to talk about now.
But you think about it, those are like the two main contributing factors why people break up, like sex and money.
Yep.
Hey, fellas, I want to ask you guys something. So, hypothetically, I'm not saying it has happened or it has happened, but in a relationship, if your wife or your mate says, "No, I don't want to have sex," and it turns over
for that night.
Yeah. I mean, for that night, or it's happened maybe a couple times. You notice or something like that, where she's turned over and said, "No, I don't want to do it tonight." But how does that make us feel?
I'm pissed.
I don't want you.
But right now, present day, all right, fine, man. I'm gonna just
no.
But I was
See,
pissed.
B-Nix is the nice one. I don't want you now, like.
It's a turn off.
It's gotta be a mutual interest, and that's the part where it makes it difficult for me to understand rape in general. Because why would you want somebody or to take control of somebody who don't even want to be bothered with you? So I can't relate to these dudes that embrace rape culture, because it's almost like it has to be a mutual interest. And the same thing on her part. She shouldn't want me if I don't want her. Like I have to make her feel wanted, which means that the girl that was in that clip, his wife, needs to place more effort into making him not just satisfied, not just participate, not just saying, okay, he wanted, so I'm gonna give it to him, but making him understand that he's desired. You see what I'm saying?
I agree.
I can't relate.
Well, I kind
of want to turn off, because the thing is like, if anything, especially I would say even like the variables as we get older, the longer you're with someone, because it becomes normalized. It becomes like you don't want it to be a chore. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is like, hey, I'm actually texting you during the day instead of just saying like, hey, I'm ready. Like we just hitting the button like it's automatic. It's like, hey, I'm building up the momentum, but it has to go both ways. So the thing is, to hear just say like, oh, I'm not in the mood. But the thing is like, I admit I want context, because then it's like, well, how do I know when you're in the mood? I need a cue. And if you're not going to give me a cue, and you can't give me the B100 with me, then that's when it starts getting fucked up. The thing is, if you're telling me no, if you're telling me no, okay, cool. Like Anton mentioned, this is a one-time thing. I get it. But the thing is, like, you're telling me no because is it something I did? Is it something going on at work?
To me, if your man is telling you that he's telling you like sexually, look, I'm feeling like you rejecting me, there's an issue that you need to really think about, and you need to like tackle that quick.
That's the thing,
and that's my opinion.
I would say in some cases, women don't look at it from that lens and just be like, "Man, you want it every day. I'm done. I'm not in the mood. I got to do this." And
hey, Nick.
One of those, it becomes an argument.
Hey, Nick, I want to ask you.
The thing is, it goes back to the double standard. Because the thing is, if I was to say no at any given time, I'm cheating.
I ain't arguing.
I'm lying. I'm doing something. I'm thinking about somebody else. I'm texting somebody. I'm doing everything else. If I'm just straight up tired, right? I've already done something wrong. So then now, am I supposed to think about her the same way? Oh, I'm not in the mood. Like, am I supposed to say like, you done something with somebody else? You've been out. Was you really out with your girl? No man is gonna really go down that lane. But guess what? There are some men out there that we talked about earlier. How people become crazy. This is another situation. This is the onset of crazy. Because guess what? You're shutting me down. You're telling me no. You're waking up the next day. You don't even make it up to me. Think about it. I get it. You fall asleep that night. Guess what? First thing in the morning, hey.
What about y'all men that be falling asleep?
Huh?
Y'all men. Y'all change. That's why they have blue pills.
I think the thing is that
that's why they have blue pills.
If men fall asleep, it's an issue. But if the woman falls asleep, then it's supposed to be acceptable.
If a woman falls asleep, it's the issue. If a man falls asleep, it's the issue.
Well, that's your
Yeah, but
opinion.
guess
use
what?
that
I'm making
I'm
that shit
speaking
right back
about
up.
the majority.
Like, hey,
The majority of women will say it's a problem.
No, you're not speaking the majority, JR.
I'm speaking the majority
You're
of the
speaking from
women.
a male perspective. You cannot just be like, I'm speaking from majority. Actually, women are majority. So you speaking for
If
all
a man turn over and say,
you're not.
I'm not in the mood, a woman's gonna go hysterical. She's gonna go crazy.
Shit.
No.
It's
You
not
know,
shit.
you know, she may turn over, but then 5-10 minutes later, she tapping you like,
I
so
can't
tell me,
control.
yeah, you know, what's going on? You waiting to have sex with me?
You know what?
You gotta be ready to go.
You need to be
Automatic-
clear. And I think he
automatic
did a
start.
great job at communicating with his wife and
Hey,
telling
Nix.
her exactly
Hey,
what
Nix.
the problems were.
Hey, Nix, I want to stick with you real quick. I think women have to understand long term the effect. I'm not saying that a woman can't say no, but when you've been with somebody for so long, you've been in a relationship, and you guys are used to having sex, when a woman says no, if she doesn't have any explanation whatsoever that can help you, okay, I see your point. If she doesn't say any of that, like, how does that affect the man long term? And I think Anton kind of touched on him when he was like, I don't even want you anymore. Like, do men really feel like that? Like, is it like, can you recover from that moment, or is it going to be long term damage?
It's damage, because I mean, I think it takes work. Cause you know what the thing is, it's a
Y'all so funny. No, y'all.
I'm just trying to, Tawana.
No,
Hey, Tawana.
This conversation today.
Tawana, with all due respect,
No,
I'm just
hey,
trying
you're
to get.
not going to Tawana?
No,
I'm not going to her. I'm not going to her. But what I'm saying is that, with all due respect, I think it's important for women to understand the man's perspective when it comes to the situation. So I hear how you think it, and I hear you.
Tawana,
You know how you trying to.
Your question is a leading question, JR.
No,
It's
Tawana,
not.
But you have to understand how the men feel. You have to understand. Women need to understand how the men feel. Go ahead, B Nix.
Okay, whatever.
Go ahead, B Nix.
Sit down. I forgot what I was about to say.
Because it wasn't worth nothing.
No, but the thing is,
Y'all don't got no point.
hey, it's a confidence thing, man. The thing is, like Anton alluded to this earlier, I need to know that you into me the same way I'm into you. And if you keep turning over on some, and not even on the I'm tired, like, just like, because that's the thing, like, I respect I'm tired. But the thing is, some nights it may not be I'm tired. It's like, I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood and I'm tired. Those are two different things. If you're not in the mood, it's because you're tired. But if you're not in the mood, that goes back to something deeper. It's like, you're not in the mood because of what? What has transpired that you're not in the mood? And then guess what? That affects me, because then and now, like, man, if you're not feeling me, and that's why I think it gets to the point where men step out, because it's like, hey, it's not mutually agreed upon. This is not even fun no more. And the thing we mentioned earlier, this is like a fucking chore. And the thing is, anytime something a chore, just like a kid, I don't feel like doing it. I'm doing it out of obligation. Nobody don't want no obligated booty. Like, period. No token booty, no obligated booty.
Let me tell you something. My homegirl, like, you know.
Hey, Tawana, hey, no, you know what? Hey, I hope you got your rebuttal ready while you over there popping your lips and stuff.
Hold on, my homegirl.
I'm tired of y'all. I can't wait.
Wait. So actually, my homegirl, it's really my cousin, but she wound up marrying like one of my best friends from like my childhood. But anyway, so I'm chilling and we kicking in, and I'm over at their house, whatever. And he worked afternoon, so it was like he usually get off at like 12 o'clock at night, and he's, you know, usually gets to the crib like 12:30, 12:45. So we over there, we partying, so it's just me and her and all of, you know, a couple other people left. And so it was like, you know, 11:30, she jumps up, get in the shower, she's doing her hair, like, she's doing all this stuff. I'm like, yo, because I didn't know what the piss is going on. I'm like, yo, you about to go to the club or something? What's going on? Like, she was getting super fresh. And so she lived with her sister, and her sister was like, oh, no, she do this every night. And I'm like, what are you doing, fam? And she like, oh, Lamar, which is my homeboy, she like, oh, he about to get off work. He about to get home. And when he get home, he need to see, like, I got to be at my top. Like, she hit the gym earlier today. Like, she makes him a priority every single day. Now, we the exact same age, which is 38 years old, right? They've been married since 18. So she's been married for 20 years. she still go through the effort every single day because she like, you know what? He's the priority. Like, she places him as a priority. She don't try to equalize. She not trying to figure out, you know, well, he feel like this, or do he get, you know, do he prepare? Like, her priority is him. Every single day that he get off work, she to the T, bro. She looked like she just getting ready to go to work, the whole 9 yards. And I looked at that and I admired it because I admire and respect people that place the other one as the priority. I think the issue in most relationships is people spend so much time trying to equalize or trying to justify. And I think that if I place you as the priority and you placing me as the priority, we automatically are trying to solve for or trying to make sure that the other one is in the best space possible. And I thought that she was like the perfect example for that scenario, and that she never made an excuse. She never said I was tired. She never went through what she was doing that day. Unless she was sick, that was the priority every single night at 11:45, 11:30 every single night. It was crazy. I had never seen no woman old school like that, bro.
Hey, can I interrupt before Tawana rebuttal? I hope you've been practicing in your head what you're going to say. But, I agree with Anton, but I feel like as going back to relationships, I think as I've gotten, I would say mature. I won't even say age, because age doesn't mean you're mature, right?
You
so
age.
The thing is,
You age. You old.
No, I'm gonna just say mature, right? Because I mean, it's older people that are mentally immature. But I'll say to the point that Anton mentioned is like investment, right? I think that I got to a point where like eliminating distractions, right? It has to be mutual agreement. I admit, and I know this sounds, I'm gonna do this like it's a cliche to build up to. If I was cheating, right, on Toya in regard to my work, right? That's who I was cheating on her with. And I'm a workhorse. I really would put work before everything. So guess what? I bring laptop to the bed. I'm gonna come to bed because I'm downstairs working on work. I literally still will work like through the night. Like, you know how like we would stay up back in the day, like I'm gonna just stay up all night on work on this paper. I would do that for work. I would put work before everything. Like, I'm the type of person I never take days off work, right? But the thing is, guess who then gets the priority? So this is the opposite of what Anton mentioned, that now I made work my primary check. You know what I'm saying? So then it got to the point where I think that when I did a different job, in hindsight, and we wasn't having any issues, but I noticed that like my all and my effort, you know, you're able to match effort. So that's the part where I think, going back to the clip that JR mentioned earlier, I had an issue with her response, and maybe I got to watch the whole thing, Tawana, but it's about effort. You know, we have to want people to want each other, but I feel there's a double standard. The way that we go about wanting it, like, I appreciate what Anton mentioned with the example he gave, because I think in some cases, the amount of effort that men put forth for wanting it from women, I don't know if women kind of validate men's feelings of wanting it from them either. You know, so the thing is, it's like, I feel like we talked about this earlier, this double standard. Men's job is just meant to perform. I feel like we're an automatic start car. Hey, I press the button, I'm ready. My car should be able to run. But the thing is, it's one of those like, hey, we're human beings, and I don't know if all women really kind of factor in that, like, we also want to be wanted. No man is going to say, hey, Tawana, you know, I just want you to want me. That's some tender shit. No man is going to articulate it, at least not that way. We may say it in our own way, like, hey, you know, last night I was just trying to, you know, but you wasn't feeling it. It's like, that's the part where I think that as a woman, and not as a woman, as a partner, right? If you know your guy complimentary, you might need to do something different. So like Anton mentioned about dressing up and stuff like that, it's like, shit, is she going through like almost like, not the, and I hope I'm not derailing this, JR, but it's like, what do you wear to bed at night, right? It's different type of people that wear different type of things to bed. Do you wear like a do-rag, some jogging pants, and an oversized tee? Or are you wearing lingerie? Or you wearing booty shorts? Or you wearing nothing? You wearing a gown? Do you got a hairnet on? You got curlers and rollers in your hair? All those different things is like, those are cues. So again, those are things that tells me the cue based on you dress like, oh, this ain't one of those nights. I'll just watch Sports Center then. But then it's one of those nights like, oh shit, hey, I'm gonna go take a shower too. It's like, those are things that I think those cues that people need to be able to do. in order to keep the relation. Because last thing, JR, that you could pitch it to Tawana, and she could finally come up with her rebuttal. But the thing is, it's one of those like, hey, and this goes against what Anton mentioned months back. I think it's easy to get into a relationship. It is very hard to maintain one. You know why it's hard? Because you got to put in effort. It's always fun in the beginning. Everybody goes through the honeymoon stage. That's when it's fun. Just off GP, I'm excited just because it's new. But the thing is, it's not new anymore. And you have them days of like, oh, that's the same outfit. What are you going to do to ensure that you all keep that level of enticement in the relationship to not make somebody want to step out?
Tawana, I know this conversation is kind of getting to you a little bit.
Tawana still, like, let me hear what you hey, I'm going to put myself on.
What's your question, JR? What is your question? Because B-Nick threw me off.
No, I don't have no question. I just want you to kind of close us on out.
No. Closing out? Yeah, go ahead, Tawana. Hey, take.
Let me talk. Let me close this out because I want to talk about Anton's point of, the man is always got to be considerate and this, that, and the third. And he's pushing his agenda. He want to have.
Ain't no agenda. Hey, Anton spitting facts.
I didn't talk when he was talking. I sat there and rolled my eyes and kept it quiet. You keep it quiet. Listen, all he did was he did not listen to the reasons that she had regarding why she wasn't interested and what happened with that situation. He was only interested in his natural instinct to have sex and what he wanted to do, and that was it. And it's not all about that when you're in a relationship. Relationships are totally different, and you know that y'all all in relationships. It's all about communication. You have to communicate with your partner. And you have to tell them everything that you want and need out of the relationship. And that person needs to be willing to adjust. And also you have to hear the other person's side and perspective and why these things are not happening. Because it's always both sides to the table, to the story. And I think that we miss that in these conversations. I feel like we're always one-sided and we're centered on what men feel and how they feel and what they think. But you also need to consider the other person and who you want. Yes, y'all do. Y'all stay considered. Y'all
nobody is centered
on men's issues and men's perspectives, and y'all never think about. Well, women, we like to be emotionally connected. We like to have, we like certain things. Some women's love languages are different. You don't put one woman in a box just based on one perspective, because everybody don't struggle with sex in their relationship. That's not an issue with everyone. Intimacy could be an issue, but sometimes it's an issue on both ends. Men don't perform either, and women have high sex drives and they don't get satisfied in the bedroom. And maybe they don't want to have sex because maybe in 10 years, you ain't as great in bed as you used to be. No, it's not. But you know what? All these things are things that we don't consider. And we like to judge based on one perspective. And I'm not for that. I'm not letting somebody make a perception about a relationship when we all know relationships are more complex than just, oh yeah, this is happening, so this is the result. Because you can be not denying your man, giving him everything, holding on to chandeliers, doing everything he wants you to do, and he's still gonna step out because he has some other reason why he want to have sex with other people. It has nothing to do with how frequent y'all have sex. So we all know that relationships are more about connection and relationship than it is about sex. Sex is a small part of every relationship. You all
it's a huge part.
It's not. It's 10%. People do not have sex. If you think about the statistics, we do way more other things than we do having sex.
How long is going to be in that relationship?
No, you work.
You'll be on red table talking about, hey, I should have listened.
I ain't gonna be on red table talk because ain't no man gonna ever say that I don't know how to take care of women. So it ain't gonna be on red table. So we're gonna be all right.
All right, so this is what you should have
said. No. I don't need to say nothing. He said I'm closing it out. You saw the comment.
I was
coming to all of us.
Go ahead, Anton.
Really?
So,
and next one, finish up with you.
This is what you should have said.
No, I shouldn't have said nothing but what I said.
I was quiet when you was talking.
No, you wasn't.
Just did B-Nix.
Y'all, you and B-Nix continuously interrupt me.
Let me
And
know when
so
you're done.
don't get mad because I
Let me know when
interrupt
you're
y'all. I
Let
don't
me
care
know when
about
you're
being
done.
no lady. I don't care about y'all stereotypical.
Like B. Nick said the
guys.
other night, this seems like a very problematic scenario in which we
Yeah,
find
you know,
ourselves.
somewhat toxic even.
Toxic.
Some might say it's
First
toxic.
of all, I like how y'all try to relate stuff to people's personal life. I'm passionate about everything. You should call my people and they'll tell you how passionate
know
I
you
am
still had the
about
floor,
really
Tawana.
simple shit that has absolutely nothing to do with me.
I
That's just my
we
life
moved on.
in general. It has
Yo,
nothing to do
I thought
with
we had moved on.
who
I'm
I'm
still
with.
waiting on Anton's final
Y'all
word.
love to personalize
Hear my
stuff.
narrative, JR?
And
All right, so why
I'm
we're
good.
gonna have
Listen,
Anton say his
yeah.
closing, and then
no,
be
no,
next.
no.
I'm gonna help her out.
Yeah, can we
It's
let Anton
9:30. We
speak?
should have been off this call. Let's
Can
go.
we let Anton speak?
So,
He already spoke for 4 hours. We
His
on
final
4
word.
hours.
this is what she's. Hey, ladies, I'm gonna help y'all out, ladies. Tawana is supposed to be y'all voice on this platform.
She hung.
It don't matter. The
Yeah.
show goes on, baby.
Yeah, well, I think she didn't like I muted her, so.
So I'm gonna tell y'all what she should have said to y'all. Yo, no more excuses. Let's stop making up excuses as to why we can't be the best version of ourselves. You need to work hard. You need to put more effort into your relationships. You need to stop looking at things based off of what you feel all the time and start taking into consideration what your man needs. It's not just about you, it's about both of y'all, especially if he's in a position where he's putting you first and he's championing you and he's trying to do everything that he can in order to prepare for you and trying to make sure that you're happy and going out of his way and making sure that you're satisfied. I know that there are circumstances and situations in which, you know, everybody is in a situation where they may go through things. Your body may change or whatever. But how long are we going to allow that to prevent us from being the best version of ourselves? You really need to put more effort in, work harder, put the time in, ask him what he needs, instead of just making excuses as to why you can't do whatever it is that it needs to be done. Because we all got things that we need. Make him a priority. That's what she should have told you. It'll help your relationship 10 times over.
All right, be next, close us out.
Hey, I think we started off talking about just monogamy, right?
Yep.
And, I think just folks need to decide, like, hey, is this, you know, like Anton mentioned, is this something that we actually, are you prepared for monogamous relationship? Like, if you're in a committed relationship, it's about being 100, not just at the beginning, but throughout. And as the relationship evolves, how can you, my father-in-law would always say, like, how do you reinvent yourself? You almost got to reinvent yourself every day. And not really in life, you should, but specific to this relationship, it's like you got to be able to reinvent yourself every day to your partner. You know, the same way, the same effort that you put in to keep this person, you got to put it in the work to be able to remain, you know, to have that person. So for me, I like being in a monogamous relationship, but because, like, you know, we all have our aspects of being selfish. I don't want to share her with nobody else. So the thing is, it's one of those, like, she knows that the expectation is set, but I got to put forth the effort. And part of the effort is really communication. If we're not able to communicate and hash it out when there are some stumbles in the road or whatever like that, or I'm not doing my part, or I should feel comfortable that I can call her on the carpet when I don't feel she's doing her part. If you feel that you can't have that 100 conversation with your partner, y'all might not be together. Whether y'all decide on your own or technically the relationship is already over because somebody's already stepping out in order to fulfill their needs. You know, I'm always bring it up. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Belongingness. If I feel as if I don't belong in this monogamous relationship, you're going to step out. It's either going to be you or someone's going to step out on you. So, I mean, folks just need to be 100 about it. And if you're not, then that's going to be the outcome. A broken relationship.
Yo, this whole thing is so much more cordial and respectful and quiet right now. Like, maybe we need to change the name when Tawana want to check out to the Bearded King or something. I don't know.
Man, I ain't touching that, man. Tawana, hey, I know you still watching somewhere by way of
her fault for checking out. Listen, I got all the smoke. When you're not able to take the heat, You can't just run about the kitchen. It's the same thing in a relationship. We need to be able to communicate and work through this. You're not going to run away when it get hot. And if you do, that means that I got the floor. And because I got the floor, I got this fire for you. We not having it. It's 2020.
No, like I think she got
2021, and we got smoke for all these women that continue to put men down and continue to create this narrative like we not what we supposed to be. We meeting expectations, we exceeding expectations. Black men don't cheat, and we are great. We are phenomenal, and we need y'all to do y'all part too. Meet that expectation. If she wanted to have a rebuttal, she should have stayed on the show.
I think she might have took exception because I had muted her, so we can try to move on.
No,
so
man. Tawana about to light my ass up tomorrow morning by text. I already feel it coming. I feel like you got us in trouble, man. Like already, and I'm not even with Tawana. I feel like I'm in trouble.
See, that's the problem, B-Nix.
That's Tawana, we love you.
Hey, man, I'm trying to reduce risk, man.
Hey, Tawana, we love you. We love you.
Yeah,
I love you.
I'll send you a text.
Enough to give you this beat down too.
So. Hey, I'm just here so I won't get fined.
No, we do love you. I'm just messing around.
Yeah, we do.